everybody, to the Awaken to Divine Love, Beautiful YouTube show. Today I'm joined by Scott Grace, who is a speaker, modern-day troubadour, and author of the book Teach Me How to Love, a true story that touches hearts and helps with the laundry. Scott shared with me in an interview in 2012 on my Beautiful radio show, sharing about his personal journey and some fun along the way, which was expressed in his book and through his unique way of bringing his energy outward in creation. So here's a little description about the book. Teach Me How to Love is the true story of Scott Grace, an unlicensed peddler on the streets of New York City who, after years of being chased by the police, decides to chase his dreams instead. While sharing his inspired improvisational singing, motivational speaking, and conscious comedy across 3 continents, Scott eventually discovers that what matters most to him is learning his love lessons at home, how to be vulnerable, how to forgive, how to love himself and others, and perhaps the most difficult and daring adventure of all, how to let love in. It is such a pleasure to welcome him back on this YouTube show. One of the meanings within the title of the show, Awaken to Divine Love, Beautiful, is to inspire you to realize that you are beautiful in your unique way, and to provide inspiration for you to let yourself be who you are to the fullest. And I feel that Scott is a perfect person to connect with to bring such light through. It's so nice to have you here with me to share again, Scott. Thank you for coming on.
My pleasure.
So this is open for whatever we want to bring through in the moment. I just feel, speaking about the personal soul's journey on Earth, I feel that within these 2 years since I last shared with you on many levels, it seems like lifetimes have been experienced. How do you feel your journey's been since then?
It's been the hardest year of my life, but it's been very, very cleansing. Like, my emotional body has had a huge catharsis, and I'm lighter and more just freer from all the crying and all the releasing that I've done.
Yeah, I've had a similar experience too. Actually, since that point that we shared, I had a lot of transitions in my own experience. My father passed away. My uncle had gone through a liver transplant. I lost my dog. My mom went through a divorce. It was like a spiraling of things externally that brought me, as I like how you said that, emotional catharsis is perfect. There was a lot that had to be released of just a lot of reflection for me, a lot of inner reflection of who am I and how do I want to be in my own life and in the world. A lot of layers of that.
Yeah, what I've always known is that nature abhors a vacuum. And so all of this clearing has created space in my emotional body and even in my mind for new ideas, new energy, new love. And it's like I see it starting to see some of the poking out of the soil, some of the new things that have been planted. So it's been a process of learning to trust that falling apart is necessary from time to time, and to let myself fall apart, not to try to hold it together, not to try to will myself to go on or to be strong, but to actually let myself fall apart, fall to pieces, and let the universe put me back together again without me doing it.
Right. I think that's one of the huge things of releasing control, so that we can create in the moment, but also have our inspired, intentions come through with the space that's being filled, the spaces that are being filled, and the spaces that are now being opened, like you said. I feel that same way. And one of the huge things I found is to have patience with the process, and to have trust and faith, a renewed trust and faith that we are in, that I am in, co-creation with the universe. That we're not separated from the energies that and each other, of course.
For anyone going through a transition that shakes and wakes everything, the medicine is kindness, gentleness, and trust and patience. These are qualities, soul qualities, that allow us to breathe and to have room for dissolving who we thought we were, dissolving identity, dissolving stuck places in the emotional body that couldn't have been released any other way. Sometimes we need the 7.2 on the Richter scale just to get off of the false foundation we've been standing on.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
I actually wrote a song about changes I had been through and what I've learned, and that'd be a good time to
Absolutely.
share it. And so I think it's a good idea for me to share just specifically the changes involve loss in relationship and the breaking up of a family. So my partner and I were together for 10 years. We had a 5-year-old daughter, and she decided it was time to leave the relationship and did so. And pretty quickly hooked up with another man, and I have just had to go through my surrender and my grief and the loss of relationship, the loss of family, because now we live in 2 different spaces. And I had my contributions to that whole dance. I don't want to put myself out as, it happened, I was a victim. No. I mean, there was, ways that we were dancing together that contributed to it being complete. And the impact that it had on me, I'm still in process with it, so I'm not a finished product. But I'm starting to feel the light that's coming in from all the darkness that has been released. And I'm having a sense of humor about it, which is always a sign of healing.
Absolutely.
You can hear the sense of humor in the song. Once I read a book called When Things Fall Apart, and I didn't think it applied that much to me, but it did eventually. And this is what I learned when my ego crashed and burned. Life, I forgot it. What do you think? Oh yes, life is like an amusement park, but some of the rides take you through the dark. But if you keep on moving through, another patch of light is coming into view, and the darkness makes you love the light so much more. That's what it's for, so smile, smile on reality. Don't get lost in delusions of duality. Smile, smile on reality. Don't trade your peace for humanity's insanity. Life is like an amusement park. Sometimes the ride travels through the dark, but if you can just be amused, you brighten up the night with your illumined points of view, and the darkness makes you love the light so much more. That's what it's for, so smile, smile on reality. Don't get lost in delusions of duality. Smile on reality. Don't trade your peace for humanity's insanity. Resisting what is causes so much needless pain and strife. I'd rather forgive than to be at war with my own life. Some things are just black and white, like the choice to be happy or right. And there's a saxophone solo that I can't replicate here. Smile, smile on reality. Don't get lost in delusions of duality. Smile, smile on reality. Don't trade your peace for humanity's insanity. Just smile.
Thank you. That was great. I love the line, don't get lost in the delusions of duality. I resonate with that very profoundly. Yeah. I think it's a, I don't know, it's a constant constant in and out process, I feel, where we are balancing our humanity and our divinity, in our experience, and it's that is beautiful. Thank you. Sure.
Yeah, and my practice is to feel my feelings and be with my humanity and then affirm that all is well. And
Yeah.
smile on reality is it's the final step in a process. First I frown on reality, I curse it, I judge it, I resist it, then I find, my tears and my anger, and then I process that, and then I come to a place of peace and silence inside. And in that silence, there is a natural aspect of me that smiles on reality, that knows that reality is benevolent and that all is well all of the time. That the truth that is always real and always true is that there's a wellspring of joy that is who I am, and it doesn't matter what's in my bank account or who broke up with me. That is the circumstances,
Right.
and that's always secondary when I'm in touch with the primary life force within me, which is joy.
Right. Yeah, I relate that to the ocean too. A lot of people I share with talk about that. The ocean, how we're always in the ocean. There's waves that come, and sometimes they're bigger waves, sometimes they're smaller waves, but we ride them, and we're never disconnected from the ocean. Yeah, it's important to remember that.
Never disconnected from the ocean.
Yeah.
But we can create a bubble. And in
Yes.
that bubble, fill it with trouble.
Yes, absolutely.
And join online support groups with people who have the same kind of bubbles, and believe that those bubbles are reality, because the bubble of war, the bubble of scarcity, let them pop.
Yes. Yeah, I
We're
like
in
that.
the ocean. On out here.
Absolutely. Yeah, so I really love just how you said, in the description of your book, how to be vulnerable, how to forgive, how to love oneself and others, and how to let love in. I feel it's the perfect description because we're always in this, in our sojourn here during our life. Do you feel that there's a place we get to, like we're at the top of the mountain and it's all figured out, or that this is a continuous, lifelong experience?
The top of the mountain is the bottom of the next mountain. And so we get to rest and reflect and celebrate. And then, because we're curious beings and because the universe is infinite, there's no end to the mountain climbing until you croak. And then there's more after that.
Exactly, I was going to say, does it ever really end? It's just continuing and continuing with new experiences and just a different form, I guess, so to speak. Yeah, I feel that too. I really feel that each relationship, each experience we have within and without brings a lot more inspiration, more insight, and it brings us into a deeper vibration of experiencing the love that we are, as individuals and as the one that we are as well. I really wanted to acknowledge you just for the authenticity that I feel you hold yourself in, and how you're willing to share the personal steps along your specific journey with those that are drawn to you. I personally was very inspired recently by your sharing that you were going through some life transitions, and in particular the one you mentioned in your relationship. And can you share what happened leading up to that change, like how your initial reaction was, how you found ways to move through it, and maybe are perhaps still moving through it?
Sure. As we all are, I'm aware of different parts of me, multifaceted parts of me. That the part of me that's grieving needs to be held by the part of me that's parenting, that knows that all is well. So there's a process of creating space and permission for the grief, and at a certain point drying the eyes and doing something fun to give myself the message, oh yeah, life goes on. There's more love in my life than just one person, one form. Fixating on one person is kind of like a child going into a candy store with mommy and saying, I want a Nestle's bar. And the store happens to be out of Nestle. and there's Hershey's and there's Snickers and there's all kinds of, options. But because the child has in his mind the belief that only Nestle's can meet his needs, his or her needs, he throws a temper tantrum. And in a sense, I've had to look at how much I've been fixated on this one person as the source of love in my life, and how that's not commitment, that's not bonding, that's not healthy, that's codependency. And, she let me go, and then I was face to face with how I had been relating to her and how much it had limited me and how much that child inside had been reaching out and attaching and fixating on this one person as the source of the candy. And when Nestle's was taken away, I've had a temper tantrum. We call it a grieving process. That's another gentler way of talking about it. So it's being in touch with that child inside and acknowledging that there's a parent that can hold that child. There's something bigger than just the grieving me.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I like how you were talking about that as well. It's one of the things I wanted to bring up too about attachment. If we can we really, open to love and let love in and be vulnerable and allow ourselves to be in a relationship without attachment? Or is it like we're talking about the ocean? Is it a constant, flowing experience of seeing our reflection through the other that we are choosing to share intimately with? And I guess allowing ourselves, I like how you labeled it potent inner work, right? I think that's always ongoing, even when we're in relationship, even as well as when there's a transition, and allowing, I guess, that reflection from the other, and like you said, having the patience with the process and discovering what patterns, attachments, what came up that created that. I guess I don't think attachment is a bad thing. It's a learning experience of how to love with I guess freedom.
Well, there's the word attachment. It can be seen as negative, or like bonding is a word that I like better. Forming a bond with somebody. But, it's interesting with our 5-year-old, we raised her for the first years of her life with what's called attachment parenting, pretty much just meeting her needs for touch, for closeness, for comfort. And because of that, she's very comfortable in her own skin. She doesn't need to attach to one specific person or experience. So it's an interesting paradox. When you get that attachment stuff in early life, I think you can love with less attachment, with less clinging.
Yeah.
As an adult. Let's say clinging is another word there.
Yeah, that's
clinging
good.
is based on fear. Bonding is a natural process of two people bonding through love. Clinging is the ego being afraid to be with self, and then clinging to a person or experience to avoid being with yourself.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you if you felt that the process of healing is a layered process, that and as you related it to the grieving process, I was mentioning how my father had passed, and that was in 2012, and I found that there's been so many layers with it, where for that initial week when he passed, I had a week straight of emotions moving through. And then I seemed to be okay, and it would come and go, and there were a lot of layers of it, and I'd still say that I'm still moving through things with that process itself. And I feel that, as you were expressing with the grieving process too, and how it does bring you deeply within yourself, a lot of reflection to reconnect with self and that love within, and then how to bring that love within outside again into expression and creation, and then connection with other people. Because I feel, maybe this is a good question for you too. Like, do you feel that you have changed, and have you seen the changes in you as a result of being in this relationship and through this transition?
Totally. First of all, the relationship made me a dad, and a dad is something I never thought I'd be. And I came into fatherhood the way children come into the world, kicking, screaming, and crying. Didn't like it, didn't want it, freaked me out. And gradually my heart opened up to this being, and fatherhood became an exciting part of my life that I cherish. So there's a lot of growing up that happened as a result of that relationship.
Yeah.
As far as the melting of grieving is, for me, it's been a process of melting on every level, melting emotionally, but also mentally. Like when I'm in my grief, I'm not even in my head. My thoughts have melted. The armor around my heart, the armor that kept me safe or that protected me, is also in the process of melting. I think I've become more gentle, more receptive to spirit. My psychic abilities have opened up even more so. Um, I, I mean, I think eventually I'll be much better relationship material than I've ever been. You know, right now I need all my attention going inside. But yeah, it's changed me in ways that I think I'll be forever grateful for. There's a part of me that's bitter, that's I'm processing a lot of anger as well, but I'm not going to be there forever.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel actually we just touched on it in a different way, but I was feeling that through this process, as I found too, to have patience with myself through it, through the waves, through riding the waves, and compassion for self is so important.
Oh yeah.
To not judge, whatever I'm feeling, and however long I think it's taking in time, that it's all imperfection.
I do a round of tapping on myself every morning, and often it's like, even though I'm in a deep grieving process, I choose to have patience, kindness, and gentleness with myself through this process and beyond.
Yes.
And that, and then I'll tap on the part of me that doesn't understand that, hurry up and heal. It's time to get over it. You should be feeling this way. What are you, some kind of wimp? Man up. I let my inner critic have a round, and then I'll go into, it's safe to be kind. What I'm learning, it's like I have this intellectually, but I'm really sort of getting it, is that gentleness is strength. Yes. That being gentle with myself is strength. It's power. It opens the key to the entire universe.
Yeah. Do you feel that we have maybe this is something that we learn from parents, from other outside sources, growing up, maybe even media, that we are to create, we have to keep moving, and somehow we lose the knowing that even in stillness there is always movement, and even in the process of emotion, and which I call energies in motion, it's always happening, that there is there is always movement and creation, even when we aren't, I guess, physically seeing a result in that moment, and that can block us from really being present in the experience to bring about creation, inspired creation.
Huh. It reminds me of what you're saying of an insight I had given to me about a month ago. It was my guides, and they said, because my career took a hit when this relationship shifted, and I stopped getting clients, stopped getting gigs, and my finances became not in a good place. And I was beating up on myself for not producing, for not being creative. I used to put out YouTubes and this and that all the time, and I'm been holing up and licking my wounds in a cave. And the the guidance that I got was that being productive um, on this planet involves two different things that are equally important. One of them is creating, and the other is releasing. Releasing is its own gold. Releasing, when you cry, you're releasing pain from past lives and from childhood, not just from the present moment excuse to be in pain. So releasing is a clearing process. The tears, the energy of sadness, the energy that needs to be released goes into Mother Earth, just like carbon dioxide goes into trees. The Earth uses it to regenerate. And emotionally, I've just released, not just for myself, but for mankind, for the human family, a chunk of dysfunctionality.
Yeah.
So there you go. It's, and also it makes room for the next level of creativity, and it's going to be a better level. It's going to be more fun, more involved, more prosperous, because as I grow, so does the tree of creativity and prosperity.
Right. Yeah, I've had some similar experiences too. I mean, I've shared about my father passing and the spiraling of some events, and then last year I had a profound experience of feeling that, I guess that I messed things up, so to speak, of with my twin flame, with my beloved, of being together, and I had to release that and allow the divine timing to be in its own, its own time and moment. And as you said, not resist what is, because what is here for a reason, and or more than one reason probably, and that's in the experience and allowing that to uncover what those are and what I am to receive, to release, and to cease, and to heal, and to bring and to reveal. I feel that through the healing comes the revealing, and then to share that. I think we're meant to share our experiences. That's part of our life's journey. And that's what I'm doing in the second book. And coming back home here to Massachusetts, where I just came back last week, feels like I'm getting a whole circle of where maybe emotional patterns and things were developed in me. And so I'm seeing the whole picture and the relationships I established before I left 7 years ago, Massachusetts. And so it's a huge circle for me, and reconnection with new people, old people that I had connected with previously before. I call it a hero's journey that I went on. And it feels like it's the right place to, as you said, heal, not just for myself, but for family members, actually, that I am around, patterns of this lifetime and, as you said, previous lifetimes. So it's a powerful thing to bring that through in creation when you're being inspired to create something and being in all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I guess it's a potent inner and outer work. So you mentioned the job taking a hit too, and I had that similar experience as well, with this shift that I was going through in relationship, and in my whole perspective and perception around the relationship itself. And the same exact thing, like there were clients just kind of shuffled away so that I could be in that inner space, and in that place to be able to bring through my service in a new way, which is what it's really about. And I guess this leads perfect to the other thing I wanted to mention regarding your taking on another job. And I was greatly interested in this because of the balancing of working in what we consider mainstream work while pursuing our soul work in a creative way. Like, how do we find, or how do you find balance within your thoughts about and feelings about that with our humanity and our divinity? Do you think that there's a maybe, as you said, I guess before, the duality? Do we get stuck in that, and are we meant to realize that pursuing our soul work versus what we consider an assistance to creating that is not really in separation?
When I work with people and I tune into them, everybody's in a different place on their journey, learning certain lessons and what's in front of us. So some people, the lesson would be don't compromise. Just keep doing your soul work. The money will come. And other people, it's about flexibility. And I think it was Jesus that said, when you're connected to your soul, being a street sweeper or a toilet cleaner won't matter. It just doesn't matter so much what you do, because it's who you are that broadcasts the energy that you're here to broadcast.
Yeah.
So, Eckhart Tolle was on a bench, blissing out, doing his work.
Yeah. Yeah, I resonate with that. And I think that there's a lot of images that we could present, that's not really the truth, and there's so many layers within our experiences. I wanted to ask you too what you felt about social media. I mean, I think personally it's a great thing because it connects us, but then I guess this all goes back to balance maybe with everything, of finding the balance of being in your human journey while also being connected through technology, and having that balance of being in both worlds.
Yeah, I think you said it well. It's a way of connecting, and it's a way of, at the same time, it's a way of protecting ourselves from real connection. It's a way of distracting ourselves. It's a way of hiding behind our fears. If you use it in balance and with the intent to connect, it's a fine tool, and certainly it can't be avoided nowadays if you want to reach people. But when I look at teens and preteens and how they're working with their phones and stuff, that part is very shadowy to me. I'm really concerned about the lack of social skills and the amount of ADHD on the planet now. And I don't want to, simplify things. I think it's diet related, and I think it's parents not giving kids presents, and I think it also is the amount of electronics. I don't think kids are supposed to have that in their brains.
Right.
So I have a little satire song. Maybe this is a good time to do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I got the whole world in my phone. I got the whole wide world in my phone. I got the whole world in my phone. I got the whole world in my phone. I got Google and Siri in my phone. I got Google and Siri in my phone. I got Google and Siri in my phone. I got the whole world in my phone. I don't need imagination. I got games. I don't need to use my voice. I got text. I don't need to wear a condom. Porn's the safest sex. I got the whole world in my phone. How could, why should I ever look up? I'm on the phone. I'm a little too busy on my phone, and human contact makes me dizzy. I got phone, I got the whole world in my phone. How could I ever get bored? I got phone, how could I ever get lonely? I got phone, I think I found my one and only. Love my phone, I got the whole world in my phone. Wait a second. This isn't right. We need each other. We need human contact. Let's end this song with a modern-day love story. I found my wife and kids on eBay. On my phone, I was the highest bidder. On my phone, the kids don't need a babysitter. They get phones, they got the whole world in their phone.
That was perfect. I love the reflection and the connection. It's great. It's beautiful, like we were sharing earlier, how we go through our own unique experiences, but we also are so connected, and they're so reflective, and it's beautiful to witness that, and to see that in expression. So thank you for sharing.
You can see that on YouTube, boys and girls. That's modern technology.
So we got the whole world in our phone and computer. So, what what do you feel? I know you mentioned the potent inner work. I feel that it's a lifelong journey, that we're constantly bringing that inner work into expression and creation outside of us, and connecting with others through that process. What advice would you give to those who are going through such huge changes in their personal relationships and other areas of their life?
Well, reach out and get some support. Don't try to go it alone. Journaling is a great way of supporting yourself, because when you write your feelings and write your thoughts, there's something about getting them on the page which allows you to become a witness to it and have some distance from it, and then get some insights on your own. Um, this is like a commercial, but go back to basics and get enough sleep and eat well, and take care of your body. Those are important things when going through radical transformation.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, I think there's so much. Actually, this is
Exercise, move that body.
exactly.
Get off of Skype and move.
As we were talking about movement, so how important that is to bring stuff through. And have you found that you've had any insight come through in dreams, actually, since we're talking about sleep, since these transitions?
Not significantly. Not.
Okay.
Good question. Next one.
Yeah, I feel we're talking about sleep. Like I feel like so much happens in our sleep that we're not, our body is still, but I think we're moving so much in our sleep and receiving a lot of guidance, even if it's an unconscious guidance, as well as light healing and a lot of other experiences that we have when our body's at rest, I think. So here's a question. Through my work, I always intend to shed light on perceived limitations that we can place upon relationships of all kinds, and to really go into the depths of the layers of our consciousness. What do you feel and think when you hear the phrase happily ever after?
Well, I think of all the books, and I've been reading my daughter, that end with that, and how we both are kind of playful about that. And when I tell stories, sometimes I end the story with those words. But I think I know what you're asking me. In other words, is there more to it than just fantasy?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think so. I think there's a dream inside every human being, and it's about transcending duality. Because when we're in the world of duality, you can't have pleasure without pain. You can't have joy without sadness. But I think where we come from as spirits, there's a memory inside of each of us of a joy everlasting, a happiness that is not up and down like a yo-yo. It's unconditional, and it's beyond time, and it's beyond space. And we project that longing for that onto a relationship. That, I think, is a child's memory of heaven, in a sense, and then the projection of that onto a romantic relationship where there are ups and downs, and there's plenty of duality.
Yeah, going back to what we were sharing too about the ocean, I feel that we can, with happily ever after, we can tend to, I call it a fairy tale, right? That we're attached to the fairy tale of how it should be, and putting a relationship and ourselves in a box, the rules of the relationship, or the roles that we should play, in that regard, and how the happiness really is delving, I feel, into the love itself, which is both aspects, that, like we were sharing, the sadness and the happiness, and all of the emotions, all of the experiences, and loving our our humanity and our divinity all as one, rather than just one or the other. Yeah, and I thought it was interesting. I love the layers of words and how a lot of times within a word there are additional messages right within the word. And as I was thinking about that question to share with you, and I thought of the word ideal, that we can put as an ideal situation, an ideal relationship, and just within that word is the word idea as well as deal. So it's almost like we have an idea or an image, but an idea of what the relationship should look like, feel like, and be like, and then that can become a deal, like an agreement within ourselves that we then place upon the relationship and within it, and maybe even a deal perhaps between both partners. So images, and it's interesting. What are your feelings on perfection? What do you feel about perfection?
Well, perfection is, to the ego part of me, perfection is 10 on a scale from 1 to 10. It's like the highest ideal, but it's always in comparison to less than perfect. And then I think in the universe, it's the absence of the scale. There is no scale. It's all perfect. And that's, you have to drop the ego in order to experience that. Or just tune into nature. Because nature is in a state of grace. So, yeah, I'm more interested in grace than perfection.
Thank you. I love how you express that too, of the perfection as an ideal, and then also that everything is imperfection. As you were expressing, it's so I guess then the ideal would be more like an intention for experience and creation, right? What we intend to experience.
Yeah. Here's what I intend to experience. Now let me release that intention and experience what is.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. It's like putting your order in for whatever food you want, and at the same time enjoying whatever food's on your plate.
Right.
Appreciating what you got.
Yes, absolutely. So, is there anything that you want to share with regarding your daughter and through this experience as well? And I just want to say I love seeing pictures of the both of you, and I feel that she has such a light. Like, she has such a bright smile. What I sense from her is that she's very free-spirited, and that she's I guess not afraid to be and to express. I get that sense from her.
Thank you. Yeah, I take pleasure and some pride in how assertive and free and shameless she is about what she wants and who she is. My prayer in parenting is to not get in the way, to not interfere with her natural love for herself and for life, because that's there, and if I don't interfere, it's just going to keep blossoming.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and she is experiencing getting her needs met and enjoying life. She seems to have resilience and flexibility around now living in 2 homes. She has great mommy time, great daddy time, great school time, friends. She has a full and rich life, and she doesn't have the judgment that I've had that families are supposed to stay together. So she gets to experience reality in a much kinder way, because she didn't come with a bunch of rules about what it's supposed to look like.
That's good. Yeah, I like how you said that.
No, I mean, she's never seen me and my partner Venus. I guess X is the right word. She's never seen us, act out and be angry at each other, and we've been able to take her and contain ourselves and our process away from her. So I think that's important.
Yeah.
It's something Dr. Phil would try to will people to do. Don't fight in front of your children. Don't show them that. And I'm glad we've been able to do that.
Yeah, that's great. Those are beautiful gifts. Absolutely. Because we do receive a lot from our environment as well, you know, that we grow up in. And so that's it's beautiful that you've given her that, and it's feels like that she's received a lot of balance as well, just within being herself, connection with others, and how have you, we were talking about the social media and things with kids, how have you balanced that with her growing up? Did she receive a certain amount of time?
Well, she's only 5 years old.
Oh, she's fine. Okay. She's fine. Yeah. But like even like TV watching, things like that.
Well, yeah, we're still in process with that. I mean, for 4.5 years, she was pretty, you know, off of, you know, all of that. And then when we broke up, I relaxed some boundaries around that and let her see her first movie, and then some video games, and then a Canadian children's TV show called Caillou that was recommended, where everything's very gentle. So so she's been getting a little screen time in, and it's been a lesson in flexibility for me to not be too rigid about my ideals.
Yeah.
She saw Frozen.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen that yet.
She sings the songs, and she's great at it.
Yeah, do you guys do that? Do you guys play and
We sing, we play. We very much encourage creativity, shows, creating our own shows and things. Yeah.
Have you ever recorded anything with her, like a song with her?
Never what?
Have you ever recorded a song with her?
Yeah, there's a song on YouTube. I feel like she helped me write it. And I sing, and then she echoes me. Like I go, and you can do the echoing part, okay?
Okay.
I like to have fun. So you sing, I like to have
Have fun
till the day is done.
till the day is done.
And when sleep comes,
And when sleep comes,
I'll dream of more fun.
I'll dream of more fun.
I like to play.
I like to
Every
play
hour of the day. Okay, I'm speeding it up. Every hour of the day.
every hour of the day.
When I put my toys away,
When I put my toys away,
I'll dream of more play.
I'll dream of more play.
It goes on, and that's it.
Yeah, that's fun. That's fun. Okay, I'll have to watch that. So on your YouTube channel, there is one with you and her.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll have to watch that.
Yeah, and there's one when she was 2 years old. Not that she was singing with me, but she was getting into the screen with me while I was singing.
Do you feel like you might, as we're ending here, do you feel like you might want to do like a little spontaneous creation in the moment?
Sure, I'm always up for that.
Okay, I have a couple lines that had come through, and I can interject them, or I can start with them and kind of I can sing it, and you can go from there if you want.
Sounds good?
Okay. Okay. If you're down and out, feeling disconnected, let the light of your fellow men be reflected.
If you're down and out, feeling disconnected, let the light of your fellow man be reflected. If you're feeling like you've been rejected, it's time to wake up to who and what you are. Reach for the stars and you'll see your own divinity right in your humanity. Get up, take another look, write another book, get in the kitchen and cook. You don't need a recipe. mysteriously. Your life is a spontaneous dance, and each moment's a divine romance. Give your spirit half a chance to lead your way. It's gonna be okay. Just a transition. Receive the transmission. Put your key in life's ignition. In your heart, you're receiving a jump start. And full speed ahead, you'll zoom. Plenty of room for all your feelings in this healing. Let your true self be revealing all the light you are, all the light you shine.
Thank you. Yeah, I love how you have such a gift of doing that, and it sounds like you've created that like eons ago.
Yeah, people often don't get that I'm doing something in the moment. They just can't believe it.
Yeah, it's great. I love how you let that flow. So thank you for sharing that. And I wanted to just show people too your natural gift, which is really beautiful. And I thank you for choosing to shine that light into the world. Um, and you do songs for people still, right? That on their personal journey, is that if they have.
That I record for people to help them through difficult times or to celebrate wonderful experiences like graduation, marriage, birthdays, any kind of transition, or just for the hell of it. People get what's called song portraits for themselves or as a gift to others. And you can read about that on my website, scottsongs.com. SCOTTSONGS.com.
Thank you. And so, Scott, to end, is there anything that you'd like to share with people regarding their personal journey, or any advice, any sharing, any humor, anything you want to end with for people?
I love the permission to just have the floor for a minute or two here. Let's see what comes through. So you spent some time with Gabriella and this fella, and here you are. Maybe you're slightly altered. There's been an altercation, maybe a sense of celebration. Maybe your mind has taken a vacation from guilt or fear, and you're just more glad you are here. And you've released something that you were holding dear, and now you realize no need to hold it, no need to scold it. I'm just letting it go. I'm letting the river of life flow. I don't need to know what's next. I don't need to be a nervous wreck. I don't need it. What the heck? I am here, and this moment takes care of me. This moment leads to the next. And it's all perfect. And it's going to continue to be perfect. Even if my mind says, no, I protest. That's not the best. That's not the ideal. And I have feelings and I need to feel. Well, that's okay too. But don't stay stuck in the zoo, because you're not supposed to be behind bars. Be who you are, and you are free, liberated from all cages, here to be outrageous. Turn the pages, see what you can see, because you're writing your own story. I recommend writing glory. Glory. I am glorious. Life is glorious. Doesn't need to be a certain way for it to light up my day. Just waking up in the morning is enough for me to smile. I love life.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Scott, for coming on here and sharing with me, sharing openly with me and creatively and intimately. So I appreciate you and your energy, your creations, your presence, and your authenticity and willingness to really share. So thank you so much for coming on here with me.
It's been a pleasure, and I wish you the best in all your transitions, and bring in a touch of heaven to the East Coast.
Thank you. Same to you.
Bye-bye.
I am you and you are me. You reflect my spirit to chosen to meet, to grow.